I don't know. Hello, can
Let's try this again. Can everybody hear me now? That's why I did a mic check. Let's see if folks can hear me now. Manfred and Corpob in the chat room, can you hear me? There we go. There we go. I was talking to myself there for a little bit. I do this from time to time, but it's all good now. So this is my 100th stream. So been doing it for a little while now. Seemingly it was December 2018 when I did my first one. So you would have thought by now I would have figured out how to unmute my microphone, but obviously I still need to practice that a little bit. So tonight's stream, I brought on a guest. So he's up there in the top right-hand corner.
Hello.
So some of you will know him, but this is Maurice R, and he has been a long-time Chocolatey Package maintainer. He's been on the stream before. When were you last on the stream, Maurice? It was a while ago now.
March 2019, I think.
A while ago. So Maurice has been tinkering away and creating some a chocolatey related project. So I'll come on to that and what that is, and he is going to walk me through how that thing works and what we can use it for. Now, just a small caveat. I've brought Maurice into the stream via the power of NDI and Skype, and it's working just now, because if Maurice waves, you should be able to see him wave. There we go.
Hello.
Right. But if for some reason it breaks, it's entirely my fault, because I've done something wrong. But fingers crossed, it's going to work, because I've had to set up. I've had to bring back a computer from the grave, basically, and I had to reinstall Windows onto it, and I think it's going to live through the stream. The last computer, because of Kim, my last computer died because I set it up to do. It wasn't Bitcoin mining. What was it? It was folding at home. It was the thing I was looking for, and I think it broke my GPU, and it doesn't work anymore. So I've got a laptop that's about 10 years old sitting here, and that is hosting Maurice, and Maurice is being brought into the stream via the power of NDI. So, with that said, the thing that we're here to talk about, Maurice, is this thing called chocolatey-diff.
That's correct.
So I'll put this link into the chat room, but effectively we've just made this thing public on the Chocolatey community repository, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to Manfred, who is in the chat as well, who helped me with some parts of the module, like the parts that we are doing for the API. And I think Kim helped us with that as well. So big shout out to those two as well.
I have to respond to Manfred's comment in the chat room here regarding my 10-year-old Windows laptop being able to do something that my fancy broken fruit can't do. Essentially, yes. The shiny fruit-based machine that I have in front of me doesn't seem to like it when I do a virtual machine with OBS, encoding the video from the stream and encoding the video from Skype as well. So effectively what I've done is I've put the encoding birding of Skype onto another machine and brought Maurice in via NDI. So yes, it is exactly that situation, and that's why I've got this headset on, so I can talk and hear Maurice in my ear, so that it all going to work. But yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's the state of play.
It's amazing. It works.
But so you alluded to it in what you said there, Maurice. So this is a PowerShell module, correct? So
yeah, that's correct.
So what does it do?
Basically what it does, it goes out to the Chocolatey website, downloads two versions of the same package, and it compares the two packages.
Okay.
So if you have a package already on the community repository that has an approved and an unapproved version, or two versions that are pretty much approved. It could be anything that you want. You can just use the tool to compare those two packages and see what the differences are between those two packages.
So this is intended mainly for package moderators, or just interested parties who want to know what's changed in a new package version?
I would say both.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe even different parties who are using Chocolatey feed or NuGet API v2 feed that has the same capabilities to compare two packages. I haven't tested it, but I think it should work with any v2 feed.
Okay. I think. But did you want to kick those people who are searching for followers, Maurice? If you have that at the touch of your fingers, or Manfred, I think you can do. No, Manfred.
Manfred can do that.
Manfred's just a VIP. He can't kick people out. I'll have to change that.
Just it.
I'll remind me, Manfred,
There
and
we go.
I'll get you figured out. I'll figure out again how to add you as a moderator. Okay, so this module, I would need to. Okay, so let me try and paraphrase what you're saying there. So this module, once it's installed, will allow me at the command line, I'm assuming, to reach out to the chocolatey.org or any v2 enabled feed and specify a package, and then the package versions, and then this module will download those packages, blow them apart, and then do a diff between those packages, the files contained within that package, and then it'll tell me what the differences in those packages are.
Exactly.
Okay. So in terms of for a moderator, so let's say I'm looking at this H2 database engine package. So currently there is an unknown version that was published in 2012 and a new version that's just been published last couple of days. So I could ask this diff tool to take those two package versions and tell me what's changed between version 1.3.169 and 1.4.200.
Exactly.
Okay. So how do I do
in this case, because this is a package that has not been approved yet, or the second version has not been approved yet, you don't need the version numbers. Manfred created some functionality that automatically detects the version numbers and will download the two versions that one is approved and one is unapproved.
Okay.
Automatically. So in this case, you only need a package ID, so which would be H2 database.
Interesting. Okay. So how do I go about? So what do I need to do to install this puppy? Because I currently don't have it installed on my live stream machine. So what do I need to do?
Okay. You need to first start up PowerShell core, because we are using functionality that is using PowerShell version 6. So you have you need the PowerShell core. So
done. I have that available.
Perfect. You should go into the repository location. You checked it out already or not? I'm not sure. So you need to check out the repository.
Okay, so I cloned the repository locally just before the stream, and I have it open in Visual Studio Code. Now, when I opened up Visual Studio Code, it said, "Do you want to install the recommended extensions for this repository?"
So that's a different thing. You don't need to use Visual Studio Code to run the tool, but for developing what we hopefully can do later, you need to install the extension. So that's a different side story. But for now, just for working with a module, you will need to go into the downloaded location, your pretty much the location where you cloned your repository from the PowerShell core, and you need to load the module.
Okay.
So in the readme.md file, there is a a command that you can use. It's import-module and then chocolatey-diff.
So import module chocolatey-diff, chocolatey-diff.psm1.
Yeah, but you can remove the chocolatey-diff.psm1 if you want, but it should work.
So you're saying all I need is chocolatey-diff, the folder. Okay. So I'm going to do import module chocolatey-diff.
That's correct.
Okay, I have done that.
Okay, then you should get chocolatey package diff, get dash chocolatey package diff, main package name, and then the ID of the package.
So you said get chocolatey package diff, package name. You said, yeah. So
And then
let's maybe look for. So I was concerned. We can try this one, but I mean, based on what you said, it was for one approved version and one not approved version. So this one is currently unknown. Is it going to handle that? You think?
not sure. Good test.
Let's try it. Okay, so package name is H2 database. So am I going to hit that?
Yeah, press enter.
I'm running it.
So it should go out to the chocolatey API and detects the
So
versions.
it's telling me unable to diff without old package version. So
yeah, so it was not able to detect the old package version. You can, however, use the old package version and add the version number in there, the old version number.
Let's do this. So old package version is 1.3.169. So let's try hitting that, shall we? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's running. Whoa. Okay. So it did something this time. Oh, did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So apparently this package has a lot of differences in between them. The output that you're seeing pretty much is a difference using the Unix diff, and it shows you that there's a lot of changes between the packages. And I think you're seeing a lot of changes because the package was released in 2012 and was not the same standards as we currently have for a package. So I think this is maybe not the perfect package to show because you need this old version even uses the write chocolatey failure and success functionality. So maybe a newer package would be advisable. Or you can use the example.
Well, it would be interesting to see from a moderation standpoint. It would be interesting to see one that's currently in the queue. So let's look for another one. Let's look for one that's in ready. Oh, what are all these? Who's that? Goodness. What is Paul up to? Paul tweeted me earlier about these Pulumi packages. I'm curious as to what's going on there.
Yeah, he created 2 new packages as well. So I think that's something there.
Oh. Let's maybe look at this one. Maybe. Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's do P4 merge.
That one looks promising.
Let's remove the old package version and we'll put in just P4 merge. I see a deal in the chat room. Hello, Adil. Manfred saying, in my opinion, it's because the status of the old package version is unknown. Yes, so I think we come to that same conclusion, Manfred. This is currently not implemented. I'd suggest env :diff tool. So is that something we need to set up, Maurice, that we haven't done yet?
You could set up a diff tool that you like if you want to use kdiff. For example, you can change the diff tool to kdiff. But this one just pretty much says there is a change in the checksum and there is a change in the version number.
So these are things that would essentially be expected, correct? So we've gone from.
True.
I mean, it's interesting to see that he's got package fix notation between the 2 versions. So it looks like it's just a checksum of the application installer that's changed. So the download URL is the same, but the checksum's changed for some reason. So
probably.
Choco install meld.
Manfred is suggesting meld.
Never been a fan of meld.
Yeah,
Never been a fan of meld. Used it in a past life, but no, KDiff is the way forward. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with you, Manfred. Sorry. So, how do I set up KDiff to use this?
So there are two things. If KDiff is capable of comparing to folders, and also set that you want to compare to folders instead of comparing the separate files, because what it currently does, it will invoke the diff tool for every single file in the package.
Okay.
So if you have 5 files in there, it will invoke a diff tool 5 times for each file in there.
Yep.
If your favorite tool is capable of comparing to folders, you can provide the additional flag from the top of my compare folders.
Okay.
That will give you the possibility to just compare two separate folders of the package, because the inner works pretty much extracts the package files into 2 separate folders and just uses comparison tools to compare the 2 files in the folder, of all the files in the folders.
Okay, that sounds good. So KDiff can compare folders. So how do I set up KDiff? So what do I need to do?
So you need to set up an environment variable, the env diff tool, and I'm not sure if that's in the, yeah, it's in there. So you pretty much point it to the file of the diff tool that you want to use.
Yep.
And then and then you just invoke the command again with the additional parameter. Let me just check to be sure, because there's an extra parameter -compare folder.
So where am I putting -compare folder? Onto the end of this diff tool string?
No, in the end of the get chocolatey package diff.
Okay, so I've set my environment variable diff tool to be the location of the kdiff.exe, and you're saying if I run get chocolatey diff package again, and then it's the flag compare folder.
Yeah, that's correct.
And if I hit that,
it should invoke kdiff, and it will show you the differences between the 2 folders, pretty much.
Oh, so at the end of the run, it deleted the download. So it is actually downloading the files again at this point. It's not using any cached version or anything.
No, because I pretty much assume that you only want to run this once per package.
Gotcha.
There is an option to keep the files, but currently it does not detect that the file is still there.
Okay.
It just downloads them again.
Fair enough.
So that's the thing that we need to add to the backlog as well.
Okay. So this is what what we're seeing now is what we were seeing at the output. So before running this, we were seeing inline that the new spec version number had changed from one to the other. So now we're seeing it in KDiff, so it's showing me that that's changed. And then in the tools folder, there was a modification to the checksum.
Yeah.
Okay. RT1. Thank you for the cheer, Manfred. I appreciate it. So at this point, I'm assuming when I close KDiff,
it will delete the files.
This should come back, right? Oh, I've probably frozen it. Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. Okay, I could see how that would. Can I set this compare folder as a global setting, or do I always
currently
need to
not
put that on? Okay.
Maybe it's a good idea to set as an environment variable or something.
Yep.
I think we should be able to do that at one point. To submit issues if you want things to change.
So, I mean, that would make sense to me because, I'm going to forget to set that every time, and then I'm going to be like, what's this weird inline Unix style diff that I don't fully understand? So,
Manfred is suggesting to add -verbose. You will get a lot of extra information saying what it's downloading and stuff. So you can see a bit of the inner works of the.
There we go. Oh, look at this. Oh.
So as you can see, it detects the version numbers and downloads some URLs from the internet, including all the package versions twice, unfortunately. And oh, there is a default parameter, it seems, according to Corpo. I didn't know that. Today I learned. So it pretty much does the same, but you get a lot of more detailed information.
So as a moderator, what I'm so as a moderator, normally what I do is I would come into this package and I would visually inspect these files and I would say, I mean, the things that I'm looking for is that the URL 64 bits are there's two different download URLs, which there is in this case. I'm looking to see if the checksums have been specified and they've been. So I'm doing that each and every time I come to a package. So what this is providing me with is rather than having to, assuming that the previous one was approved, then this diff makes it easier for me to say, right, this package, I can approve this package, because the only things that have changed are the things that I would expect to change. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
So because we have some expected changes, we already created an issue on the backlog to add an extra flag to ignore expected changes, pretty much. Unfortunately, that has a requirement to stick with the PowerShell compare objects functionality. So that's a bit different than using kdiff to compare the two versions. You need to use a compare object, so you can see, we'll still see the changes in line that are unexpected, but the expected changes are filtered out of the results.
Gotcha.
And we are using a regular expressions for that to expected changes, because yeah, we cannot add every checksum in there, obviously. So there is a pull request open for that, if you want, or at least a branch that you can check out and see how that works. Maybe it's a nice one.
So allow known differences. So what this is really an evolution of the tool, correct? So this is
pretty much, yeah.
The tool at the minute is telling you these are the differences that are contained within the package, and it's listing them all out. So in the case of the one that we did at the start, there were lots and lots and lots of different changes, because it seems as though the package has been essentially rewritten. But in the case of this one that we've just done the diff on, then from a package moderator point of view, the version changing and the checksum changing, they're kind of expected things that would change between two package versions. Now, ideally, I mean, well, what I would have expected within this chocolatey.install is that potentially the download URL would also have changed. But what this tells me is that potentially one of two things. One, the download URLs don't change between package versions, which in the case of like the Chrome package, the download URL doesn't change, but the checksum will change. Or on the server side, the file at the side of the server changed, but they didn't bump the version number, which also happens from time to time as well from the vendor point of view. So, but both of these things were expected. So if this tool is allowed, for want of a better word, if this tool is allowed to make an informed decision that, oh, it's the version numbers that have changed and the checksums that have changed, automatically approve is kind of where we're working towards with this sort of thing, or making a recommendation to automatically approve this change in package version, correct? Okay,
ideally,
I can see that
yes.
being useful as well. What I was thinking there in terms of usefulness as well was, but I don't know how, I was thinking about a button on the site that would be compare, to then auto-magically invoke that command based on the compare button that's selected here. I don't know how useful that part would be, if you see what I mean.
Maybe invoke it automatically during the automated tests and store the data somewhere, so you can see the differences between the two versions.
I would see that. So what you're referring to there is, so at the minute we have package validator, package verifier, package scanner. Now potentially what we would have is another tool that is package differ, because I'm just great at naming things, right? So we would have the package differ that would potentially run this module and then make an informed decision about these things have changed, these are expected, approve, in the same way that we run it through the validator and automatically gets approved.
Yeah, or
if
just
it's a
put
not expected
diff
change,
output.
it would be go back to the human moderator for approval.
Or just for now, put it in there, saying, okay, these are the changes currently in the package between two versions.
But what I was referring to there
So that
was
you only have in the chat.
Yeah, so yeah, I see what you're saying. So in the same way that we would have the output of package validator, the output of package verifier, we could potentially put in here's the output from package differ. Yes, absolutely. But no, what I was referring to was potentially I might be interested in knowing historically what changed between these two package versions here. So if package differ didn't exist, then there could be a button between these two lines that says compare package versions, and then it would do something to do a diff between those things.
Yeah, could be.
Because the work that you were doing here with package diff kind of coincided with some UI work that I was attempting to get to work within the website, which was to allow an inline diff of the differences between the two things. But that's never really gone anywhere, because I know that that's been a request for a while, which was, as part of a moderation process, I want to be able to physically see the differences between the files. But what you're suggesting there with package differ and putting the outputs into the moderation chat maybe makes more sense. So yeah, that's definitely something to think about. I mean, that's not a small undertaking. Let's put it that way. There'll be a lot of moving parts to add another automated process into the mix. So it's definitely something to think about, though. Just to pick up on the chat room messages. There's more discussion about the PS default parameter values. You need to set it in your profile, but you can set default parameters for any commandlet or function. And then Stevie has come up with PS default parameters, get choco-diff, compare folder equals true. So I would be able to set that so that
a bit different, because it's the command is different. It should be get chocolatey package diff.
Yep.
But yeah.
So let's do this. Let's just do this while we're here. Oh, it's still open in KDiff. And then we'll come back to what Manfred's saying. But if I paste this into here and then do get chocolatey, what is it? Get chocolatey package diff. All one word, chocolatey package diff. Yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Missing equals after the operator in the. Why am I holding this wrong? Get.
What? I don't know. I have never used PS default parameter values, to be honest.
I'm going to wait for Stevie to come back with why I'm holding that wrong, or Corbob to explain why I'm holding that wrong. Let's be honest here, Maurice started the work on chocolatey because that GitHub issue never got traction over quite some time. And that is the way that open source goes, Manfred, unfortunately. You did see that we just closed an issue that was like over 2 years old with regard to embedded packages causing problems. So it's not unheard of for things to take a long time, because other things get in the way.
The command, but
the quote get package parameter. So I'm going to put a quote there, and then quote there. Nah. Unless I put the quotes in the wrong place, that didn't work either. Get chocolate package there. The whole thing. You didn't say that. Didn't say that. you said around the command. Let's try that. Okay, that didn't error. We're getting somewhere. So if I run this now and I take off the compare folder.
And the verbose, please.
And the verbose, yes. Let's run this again. Try this again. So I'm expecting that this will open it up in KDiff and it will compare the folder then. This works.
Let's hope so.
And to go back to what Corbob said, there we go. Beautiful. In order for this to persist across my sessions, I would need to add this into my PowerShell profile so that this was set when I close this and open up again. And that's fine. That can definitely be done.
So with issue 22 or GitHub issue 22, when we are going to merge that, you need to set an extra parameter as well because the command set has been changed over the versions. So for the this to work correctly, what I needed to do is I needed to make parameter sets.
Mm-hmm.
And because there are two different sets of parameters that you can use inside to invoke the get chocolatey-diff commandlet.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, you need to specify the parameter that you want to use an external diff tool. Because with the internal diff tool that I've just created, it will improve the speed so much.
Okay.
And that's in the get chocolatey package diff file. So there's a big set of parameters, and they all have set names in there. And with that, you can pretty much have two different syntaxes for your same commandlet.
Okay.
This will give you the possibility to use different functionality based on the parameters that you provide, and make some mandatory based on the set that you're using.
So if I understood this correctly, so let me back up a step. So in the current version, the one that I'm playing with just now, it's not using compare object. It's using an external diff tool or the Unix-based diff tool, and it's providing me with a snapshot of the differences between the two packages. So the reason that you've moved to compare object is because there is essentially a requirement that says, I want to be able to know that this change is expected, and I can then say, don't worry about it. So I'm assuming that there'll be another parameter that says ignore expected changes, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
correct?
There's one in there. Yeah.
Ignore expected changes. So if it's only the version number in the new spec file that's changed, that's an expected change. So if I pass in the ignore expected changes, that's not going to show up in the diff. Now,
Correct.
what you're saying is that's not possible if you use an external diff tool, because there's no way to pass kind of an ignore flag into the external diff tool, or there might be, but it might not. It wouldn't be the same for every single diff tool, so it would be difficult to do. So
and not every diff tool is using the same regular expression things.
Understood. So the default going forward will be to use the compare object internally, which you're saying is significantly faster than using the external diff tool. That makes sense. But the different parameter sets here allow me to, by default, say compare objects, use the compare object to give me the diff, and then show the ignore the expected changes. But if I want to, I can run the same command again with the use external diff tool to then get a visual representation of all the changes, so that you can then make another informed decision about how you want to move forward with the package moderation. all makes sense to me. So yeah, I don't see any issues with that. Hold on, I'm seeing you can also use. You can also. Oh, I can index into it rather than use the hash. Okay. That one feels nicer to me, indexing into it. That's fine. PR sent with PS-diff default parameter. So Maurice has also sent a PR by the look of it.
I think you're suggesting that it's Manfred.
PR. Oh, so Manfred hasn't sent a PR. He's requesting a PR. Is that right?
Ah.
This won't overwrite any other default values that you set. Okay, that makes sense. So I see. So okay. So what Corbob is suggesting is that by using the index into it with the name, you won't blow away any other default parameter values that might have been set, which would have occurred with the directly accessing the hash. That makes sense. Am I able to post links without any bots getting? You should be. Yeah, go for it, Corbob. If it doesn't work, we'll kick you out and you can come back in. How does that sound? So Stevie sent in a link which will take us. Let me bring it into the stream. Copy, copy, copy. Paste, paste, paste. There are a couple of us who can let them through, I think. Sounds good. Give it to Stevie. That's what he wanted posted. So about default parameter, about parameter default values. Blah blah blah. So yeah, this was the one that Stevie suggested, and then the alternative would be to index into it like this. Okay, so what I would want to do, like I say, is I would want to go into my PowerShell profile and add something like this with the value I want to. Okay, so I'm gonna say that I'm gonna do that after the stream, and I'm gonna promptly forget about it. So at some point, Stevie will remind me to fix that. Monkey. I'm not sure what that's meant there. I don't
forget it. Forget it.
I'm not down with the cool kids. Okay, so all of this sounds good to me. So what's left for Chocolatey Diff? What's the next? So after this, allow known differences to be ignored gets pulled in. What's the next phase for Chocolatey Diff?
Ship or release.
So okay, so there's no release currently on PowerShell Gallery currently.
Nowhere.
Okay.
Nowhere. The only thing that we have is this module here on the GitHub.
Okay. So okay, so that would be the next question. So okay, so how can I do this on my Mac as well? So
yeah, it should. We tested everything on macOS, on Linux, or Ubuntu, I think, and on Windows.
Okay. So I'm going to delete this one because we've renamed it. I do have an older version of Chocolatey Diff here, but I don't think it. I think I was holding it wrong when I was testing it on my Mac. So let's try it out again if you don't mind. I'm going to try it on my Mac as well, and we'll see if it works over here too. So let's go to my. Let's go over here. I'm going to do a git clone of this guy. Paste. And we'll cd into Chocolatey Diff, and then we'll do a git remote add upstream, and we'll go to this one, copy that, paste this. Okay, so I think everything should be up to date, but let's just make sure. Maybe not. Git fetch upstream, git rebase upstream master, git push origin. Okay, so CLS. So then what we did before was we imported a module. So I'm going to grab this guy. And then, oh, that's not where it was. Where did my gal go? So then I wanted to, no, we're here. So I literally just do this, right? So I'm going to do import module.
Yeah, just import a module.
Import module could not be found. Oh, because I'm in iTerm. That's not going to work.
Yeah, you need to open PowerShell.
But if I go over here, no, that's not the one we want. So how do I spell PowerShell? It's here.
PWSH, I think.
I found it. So we're here. It's white. I don't know how to change it, but we're here. CD. Oh, that's horrible. Can you even read that? I'm not sure if you can.
No, I am not able to read the CD.
CD. I don't know how to change
It's yellow.
that. I don't know. If anybody wants to tell me how to change that, I'm welcome to community chocolatey-diff. There we go. So if I do that import module again, which is that one, I can just posh an iTerm too. Oh, can I? The whoosh. Oh, look at that. That might work. Let's do that then.
Oh my.
Okay, so I poshed. What's the pronunciation? What's the common pronunciation of?
You've changed shell.
So I'm over here
into
now.
PowerShell.
Okay, so I'm over here. So at this point, I should be able to run the equivalent of what we were running before. So what we were running before was this one. Correct?
Yeah. Keep in mind it's not invoking kdiff anymore because kdiff is not on your Mac, I think. It will use the diff tool available on your Mac as well.
Okay. Let's see what happens there then. You can push. Windows doesn't have this problem. It's a level 8 problem in this case. An LVL 8, that means something, right?
Level, or I would say layer 8, but yeah.
You can also change the default terminal to black in the preferences. But the problem is, I don't really use this thing on my Mac. Okay, but anyway, so over here, cool kids use Starship. What on earth is Starship? Seriously? Starship.rs. I'm going to have to bring this over. Manfred's making us go down a rabbit hole. Cross shell prompt, the minimal, blazing fast, and infinitely customizable prompt for any shell. It's powered by Rust, that's why Manfred likes it. Brings the best in class and safety of Rust. Oh, look at that. Quick install. There's no chocolate install Starship. You need to get that fixed, Manfred. I can't use it. I can't use it until it's got chocolate on here. No, cool kids use hyper. I'm not even going down this rabbit hole, folks. Just stop, right? We're not doing it. We're not. I was going back to this prompt. So, do I have meld installed? Meld is not recognized, but in theory, I should be able to do brew install meld, and then it would just be a case of setting the environment variable again. Maurice, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Hyper is a cluster that won't work in a modern enterprise. Yeah, I just use iTerm and I use PowerShell. I'm so not down with the cool kids.
You're invoking brew now from PowerShell, you know that?
I am, and it's working.
How cool is that?
Yeah, things just work, right? I didn't actually even think about that. I found a cask, so brew, let's do that then. Brew cask, then it's going to tell me that the syntax has changed. Oh, what is it? Can't remember what the new syntax is, but let's just try brew cask install.
It's, yeah, without dash dash.
Or the triple L. But I think brew cask install is going to tell me that it's no longer going to work. It's no longer, it's being deprecated last time I did this.
If that's the case, then we need to update the README and MD for the pull request as well. It's doing stuff.
It is doing stuff. What? I'm sure. I swear I got a deprecation notice the last time I did something like this. Anyway, but Hyper has little fireworks when you type. Is that what it's all about, Stevie? Is it? Because modern enterprises insist on using next-gen firewalls that inherently break security, and Hyper doesn't care. Maybe 2 L's. Yeah, spotted that, Stevie. Thanks. So then, is there notes for? Oh no, because I'm in PowerShell, so the same thing will work here. Correct?
Yeah, in theory, if you know, I think you can just use the command meld because it's on the path.
On this happy 100. Thank you very much, Matthias. Yes, 100th stream. It's been a quick. Well, in some ways it has been quick, and then in others it's like, really? It was 2018. That's a long time ago. So, do install Starship, invoke expression Starship init PowerShell. No, just no. So I'd like to see this working, Maurice, because this is, in terms of doing moderation, it would be useful to be able to do it without having to spin up a Windows VM. So if I can get this working and be able to quickly look at a diff, then, so if I now do the which meld?
No, I think you can just, it's already there in the output. Linking binary meld.wrapper.sh to use a local bin meld.
Yep. So yeah, okay. I didn't spot that, but yeah. So the same command gave me this. So I'll get there in the end. So it was here. No. Okay. Paste. User local bin meld. Right? So then if I go back and I do this and I do my compare folder, let's see what that does. Because this could be entirely useful running here. Are you currently doing moderation, by the way, Manfred, since you're on the stream? Have you got your popcorn and doing moderation as we talk? I do have Beyond Compare, Stevie, but
it should work with Beyond Compare as well.
I don't know. There's something about it. I want to like it and I want to use it, but it just, I don't know. I haven't gotten used to it yet. Interesting. So that's giving us essentially the same functionality that we saw in KDiff running on my Windows machine. So I like it. I could get used to that. Currently prepping. Oh, of course. When's that? Manfred? That's coming up soon, isn't it? For those that don't know, Manfred is running a chocolatey workshop at a conference in Munich. But Meld is prettier. Honestly, just diff. Can we do a diff with Visual Studio Code, Maurice?
If you can execute Visual Studio Code with just the two files next.
I think you can.
Because if you, what we can do is, if you go into the repository, into Visual Studio Code that you already have open, I think.
Yep.
If you go into the private and then the invoke diff tool, so open the chocolatey diff.
Invoke diff tool.
This is pretty much the functionality that we are using to invoke the diff tool. So it just starts the diff tool with an argument list of the path 1 and the path 2. So depending on the diff tool that you have provided, if it's capable of doing the command, it's fine. I'm not sure. Neil is suggesting the minus. I'm not sure if that would work on the diff tool environment variable, to be honest.
So that's kind of what I was always going through my head just now, is potentially to explore this a little bit more. What we might need is the ability to specify the path to the diff tool, and then additional arguments to pass in as well.
Yeah, I think that would be
so like diff tool args or something. So the default, if the diff tool args isn't set, then do what you've got here in this argument list. But then potentially you might want to either concatenate or override it with what the user has specified in the diff tool args. Oh, Manfred's saying that diff tool code-d would work. Shall we give it a try?
Yeah, go for it.
So we were up here. Code-d. Oh, you're saying it's worth a try. Well, let's give it a try. So let's do package p4 merge.
I think you need to unset the default package parameter values, because I don't think it's capable of comparing folders. But
oh, because I've got that now set as my default parameter. Okay. Well, hold on.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it breaks.
Nils is suggesting should we add the weight parameter, but maybe.
Well, the start process does a minus weight, so I'm not sure if it's.
This command cannot be run due to the error. The system cannot find the file specified. Well, code is there, so it's maybe the code-d. So it's the environment the environment variable is being passed directly to
the file path.
So that'll be why, because we would need to pass that -d or the --weight into the argument list. Yes.
Yeah.
It's trying to find code-d and the executable is d. I totally agree, Corbo. Yes. So
yeah.
we would need.
So I think we need
to here to make it work.
Yeah. Write up an issue.
Maybe need a wrapper sh file. That could work too. Yes, that would work. So unfortunately, you need to hack the invoke diff-tool.ps1, or write up an issue and have Maurice fix it. That sounds like a much better idea to me. But anyway, so where do we get to? So we've seen it work on Windows. We've seen it work on my Mac. We've seen it work in 2 different diff engines and looking at the results. So I think that is. Manfred's telling me to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it. So what's next then? So where do we? What else do we want to talk about?
Maybe we can talk a little bit about the inner works of how it works and how we do a build, because this is not your default cake thingy that you usually do. Pretty much, I've used the build script from Poshpot, which is on PowerShell. Did before, or you did a stream on it before.
Yep.
And pretty much what it uses is Pisaki to build your files. I've built the module pretty much, and So what I also did is I wrote pester tests, and those tests pretty much test if the input and the output is giving the thing that I am expecting from the functionality. And I'm also I think we are currently at 100% coverage, so is a good thing. And let's hope we can keep it that way.
Agreed. There's no you need to have a code IO.
Oh yeah,
Shield.
sure we do.
See that.
Yeah.
I hear you on the
I think
Dad Life Manfred.
you can do it from the PR.
Yeah. From the PR, we should see.
Yeah, or you can just go here. I've just pasted the link in the chat.
Here. Paste. So 100% code coverage on the chocolatey-diff module.
Yeah. Thank you. So pretty much what I've done is I've set up pester tests with a big thanks to Jewel, one of the guys at Chocolatey as well, for helping me with pester.
Who was that, sorry?
Jewel. Vex.
Oh, so I heard you say Jewel, but Joel is yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, it took me a second there to catch on. So, Matthias agrees that you should have badges on the.
Yeah. Submit a PR. I'm happy to merge.
He hasn't done it. Well, we should all wait until October for doing all these PRs that we're talking about, because Oktoberfest is coming up, or Hacktoberfest, I should say, is coming up.
It's right around the corner.
So we should all wait until October 1st to. So it wasn't just me. Okay, I feel a bit better now. But so code coverage is running. You're using pester test, or you're doing a bunch of pester tests, and you are running. You're using Saki to execute the build. So rather than using Cake, obviously, as a default, should be using it everywhere. You're using the PowerShell build automation tool that is Saki, which is perfectly fine. And all joking aside, I've been in a situation before where I've tried to use a different build automation tool different from the language that's the main focus of the repository, and it's just a nightmare. So yeah, using a PowerShell build automation tool in a PowerShell project makes absolute sense. So
yeah. So I would.
So where's the build happening? We haven't discussed that. So when you
the build is happening
repository or you do a PR, where's the build happening?
On GitHub Actions.
So that must mean that in this folder there is a workflow. Okay, so there's workflows in here, and then there's a build.yaml here. Okay. So, so you're building on multiple operating systems as well. So Windows, Mac, and Ubuntu. You're checking out the repository. You're running the build, which is just to invoke Saki with the PowerShell shell. And then we are uploading the pester results, and then you're submitting them to CodeCov. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So you can run the build as well on your local machine. It will install some of the PowerShell modules that are required to do the build, like Pitsaki, build helpers, pester, and PS script analyzer.
That before, but let's pick that off.
So pretty much use the command that's used in the GitHub action. No. It's not just build of PS1, sorry. What you need to do is invoke in build with -task test -bootstrap. So that will install all the requirements automatically on your machine.
Okay.
In your current user, so not on your system, but only your current user.
So I understand the need for this, but I mean, having worked with certain people for a while now, their preference would be that the default did what you wanted it to happen, and then in your GitHub action or appvar.yaml file, it would do the necessary work there. So, or it would hopefully have explained why running just a build didn't work.
Yeah, I think we need to improve that.
But I saw PS depend flow through there, and now PS script analyzer is being installed as well. And you said, sorry, I didn't acknowledge it, but you're saying that these are being installed globally or locally?
Current
or
user. Current user.
Okay. I should be looking at my current hard drive space. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. There's still 2.94 gigabytes, so we're fine. We're fine.
Perfect. So what this will create is an out folder. Within there will be a version number, which is currently 0.0.1, and also a yacoco.xml file, which contains the output of the Yacoco tests. And with the recommendations that you just installed for VS Code, it will give you the possibility to view the code coverage inside your VS Code.
Okay. So Matthias is asking about something we spoke about earlier, and whether Git version is being used for asserting the version number. And it's not currently being used. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's an issue that is on the list to implement as well.
Okay, so I see the out folder being created now. So in the out folder, there's chocolatey-diff, and then 001, which is the default value. Okay. Now it's running pester tests. So how many tests in total is there? 130.
100, yeah, something like that.
So that's finished. So it's generated this. How did you pronounce this?
Yacoco? I'm not sure. I'm just saying how I think it should be.
So with that file created, you're saying this will now appear in Visual Studio Code. Is that correct?
Yeah. If you open Visual Studio Code, on the bottom you have the thing called Watch. If you press on it,
oh, so this will tell me which parts of this file are now covered.
That's correct.
So this only appears because of the presence of this file.
Yeah, if you kill the file, then it's gone.
So if I kill this,
or at least it should go away.
Could not find a coverage file. So was there a setting that specify that it was looking in that out folder, or?
Yeah, no, it searched in your program repository for that file. In the settings.json file that's in the .vs Code folder, there is the gutters.coverage file names, and in there I'm specifying the Yacoco XML file.
Okay, so you don't need to specify a specific folder, it's just looking for that file anywhere in the repository.
Inside your project, yeah.
Interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm wondering, can I get something similar to that for Coverlet or OpenCover?
I think so. I'm
curious about that now. I'm going to have to go and look while that's building again.
There are some default coverage file names. Yacoco wasn't one of them, but I think there are some default files there. It's the gutters add-on. I'm not sure if the gutters add-on can use coverlet, to be honest.
Oh, is it hold on, I see, okay. Officially supported languages backed by Test-Run, Nightly, Java. Okay, so it wouldn't have .NET then. Interesting though. Okay, I'm going to have to. That's something else to add into the list to look into. So that's added that file back in again. So does that automatically now appear? Has it went and found it? Oh, it went and found it again. So it's already there. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. So you said that there was an issue regarding. I see. Okay, so make use of Git version, make use of Git release manager. You're picking all the best tools here, Maurice. I have to say. So I'm in no way biased about any of these tools, but
I got a network error as well, Manfred. So I think for a second.
didn't see anything. But hopefully we're all still here. You didn't drop out, Maurice, I don't think. I was still talking to you. So
Yeah, but that's via a different tool.
yeah, interesting. Okay, so do we want to look at doing some of these, or was there anything else you want to discuss, or is it a case of maybe working on some of these things, or what do we do? What do you want to do next?
Yeah, I'm up for it. I think we could use Git version to detect the version number and update the module based on version number. There's a PowerShell command loop to set the version number inside a PowerShell module file, and I think that would be a Git workflow, GitHub flow that we need to set up.
So there's two trains of thought here. Oh, now I just got in my little Twitch chat window, it just said disconnected, connecting, and then welcome to Get13's chat. So I think there definitely was an issue with Twitch. So yeah, so there's two trains of thoughts on that one. If we add it as a GitHub action, which is a perfectly viable route to take, if you then move away from GitHub Actions, you have to re-implement that work in whichever CI provider that you go to. So given that you've got a Saki script here, we could do the running of Git version within the Saki file and have it assert the version number and then do the right thing to the
makes sense.
The module. Now the issue with that becomes, so there's a couple of issues with that. The issue is if you're building locally, you may not want it to update the version number when you're running locally. But you could check for the presence of an environment variable that specifies that you are running on something like GitHub Actions, and then stamp the version number at that point only would be a way of doing it.
I think there is an environment variable automatically set for that you're running on a CI/CD for the BS something, BH something variable names. So if you go to the
does it, for example, let's just have a quick look here. And if we look in common, we look in build, we look in GitHub Actions, then in the GitHub Actions provider, in here there's is running on GitHub Actions. So if this environment variable is present, then you know, or if that environment variable is present, it tells you that you are either running on a GitHub Actions runner or you're running on a machine where someone has set the GitHub Actions environment variable to be true.
Yeah. With a lot of build, we have the system, and that shows currently GitHub Actions. So if you go to the GitHub Actions and expand the run build output on line 19, there's the BH build system in there as well already.
On which job? The run build?
Now, I'm not sure what you get when you run this locally, to be honest.
So where are those build system details coming from?
I think that's one of the modules that we are using to detect all the information. I think it's coming from let me think. It's one of the commandlets that we are using.
Interesting.
Set build environment. I think it's a set build environment. So if the build system is unknown, then just ignore it.
So where does that come from, though? Do you know?
In the build of PS1. I think it's one of the requirements that we install. It's the build helpers module.
Build helpers. I'm curious now.
So I'm getting a network error again. So I think Twitch is.
I'm seeing that too, and nobody's. But we're still recording, so it'll still go out to YouTube. But
Okay. I'm back at least.
I'm back again as well. Oh, it's Rambling Cookie Monsters code. So what does this do? This is a quick and dirty PowerShell module with a variety of helper functions for PowerShell CI/CD scenarios. Many of our builds
Yeah, but it's
different builds apply or
it's already on version 2.0, so it's not quick and dirty anymore from my perspective.
get normalized build variables. So you said you were calling the set build variable, set build environment. Look at that. So this is essentially interesting. I love it when people come up with the same idea, but in completely different ways. Because the cake, what we're doing in cake.recipe, what myself and Kim have been working on within within cake.recipe is a very similar approach to this, and it will set a bunch of parameters for what system it's currently being run on. And if it doesn't know what it is, it will map it as unknown, which is similar to what we're doing here. Interesting. So, but what else? I'm sorry. I realize I'm going off on a tangent, but build output, build number. I wonder where he's trying to pull that from. Branch name, project name, commit message. Commit message is an interesting one. Commit hash and the project path. All of those are very useful things to have. But yeah, so in theory, you should be able to use the BH build system environment variable or the variable, and then if it is running on GitHub Actions, take action or not. Yeah, that makes sense.
The only thing that we currently are doing in the properties on the top of the psake file is we are already detecting the module version. So it grabs that from the PowerShell data file or the module file and puts that in a variable already. So if we want to do that, we need to do that before we invoke the psake file or update the variable from the properties.
Yeah.
This is not a good thing. Our channel is offline currently.
OBS Studio
something
disconnected, reconnecting is telling me, which seems to be down hard at the minute. So again, we're still recording, Reconnection successful is telling me.
Great, that's a good thing.
So what's twitch.tv/get? Let's have a
Yeah, here we are. We're back. So, like I said, if we want to change the module version during the build, we need to set that before we run the psake file or update the variable once we have done that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's okay though, right? There would be nothing to stop you having another task, which would essentially chain the tasks together, obviously, and then have that task run as the first thing,
Yeah.
or even in the init. I guess you could do it as well, but
or during right below the set build environment, perhaps.
so
But then, so in the build of PS1 on line 39.
There we go. Set build. Yeah, right after that, you could. Well, you see, but then ideally you would have another task. I mean, you.
No, I'm talking more about the build of PS1 file before we even invoke psake.
Mm-hmm.
We set the build environment, and I think we can use the BH variables that are already there, and after that we invoke psake. But I think it depends on the task that we are executing. But yeah, I'm all up for adding an extra task that is depending on something.
But then you also need to get the. So this then brings up the question of how you want to get the tool. So, Git version ships as both a .NET Framework executable or as a .NET Global tool. So the question becomes, how would you want to install that?
Well, I think we can install it using the GitHub action, right?
But again, so if what you want to do is to only assert the version number when you're running in GitHub Actions, then yes, absolutely you can do that. But if I'm running locally, are we saying that we don't want to do that? Or do you want your Saki script to take ownership of fetching and installing that
Yeah,
tool to
I think
use?
that would be better.
So then the question becomes, what version of the tool do you want to use? So given that we're in PowerShell core, you could make a leap and say that you had the .NET Core installed as well and available to you. And if you have that, then you can just do a .NET tool install git version.tool.
I think that would be a
Because
great idea.
the other way of doing it would be to use Chocolatey to install it, or use Homebrew to install it, because that would give you the option of being able to run it in different operating systems. But if you can take a line in the sand and say that you're going to have .NET Core installed, then the .NET Global tool, in theory, should work across all the operating systems.
Yeah, I think that would be the best idea to use the .NET Global tool.
So then once you have that, so there is the concept of installing that .NET Global tool globally, or you can install it locally into the project as well. That's what we tend to do with Cake. So we don't install tools globally unless asked to. So out of the box, we will install it locally into the project folder in the repository, and then we would execute it from there.
Yeah, I think that would be the best way for now. Maybe I think that would be a change to the git ignore folder just for the sake of that, and just put it in there.
So what you end up with is a. Well, I guess we could play with it and see what it would do. So in this folder, where's my? Curious, there's been nothing in the chat room, so I'm wondering if everyone's been able to get back in. I don't know. Is anybody still in the chat room, or is it just myself and Maurice having a wee chat here? Which is perfectly fine. I'm just curious if there's anybody else still out there. So .NET.
Manfred is still there.
Oh, Manfred's still there. Okay, cool.
And Niels, that's perfect.
So there is folks still there. Now, let's not do it just now. Let's have a wee look and remind myself about it's the tool path, where you want to install it to. The directory will be created if it does not exist. So what do we do? I'm going to go and cheat a little bit and remind myself about how we do it over here, and that will help inform. Take .NET tool module? No, .NET tool dot module. I had to reconnect 4 times. Apologies about that. I think Twitch is having a bad day. So if we do the runner, what's the runner installer?
Package installer, yeah.
Blah 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 blah. So we do global tools, tool location. I see we do some additional work to test to see if the package is already installed locally as well. So there's maybe you start going down a little rabbit hole with all of this and knowing where to stop. But we are pending the the tool directory. Okay, so that's what we do there then. So in theory, if we were to do .NET tool install git version .tool and we specify that the tool path is tools, right? As a just making it up as we go along here, then what you end up with is tools it's creating all this folder structure for us. But what you end up with once this process is completed, what you end up with is an executable tool that lives in that tools folder. So let's just let that finish.
I think it's done.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted and having to type a message in the Slack. I apologize. Just writing a message to Stevie, asking me to do something earlier. Okay, so yes, so if we now look at the tools folder now, what we end up with is the .NET Git version exe here, right? Now, the slight complication is that on my machine here, because I'm running Windows, I can run .NET Git version .exe. It should have created a shim for that.
On Windows?
But I mean, we can force it.
And another network error.
Right, so that runs Git version, but on a Mac, or on a Linux machine, when you install .NET Global Tool Git version, you're not going to get a .NET exe. You're not going to get a .exe. You're just going to get an empty shim that is just .NET Git version. So you would have to handle that as well in the build script. So to know to check for both git version.exe and or just .NET Git version. You follow me?
Yeah, but I think if you do that on Windows, it will detect, okay, you're executing XC. So if you just punch in tools.NET Git version, it should detect that there is an exe file.
But the way that you're running things, it would. I don't know if it would. Not if you're passing that into start process. You would need to specify the full extension of the tool. So I'm not trying to put you off. I'm just trying to make you aware that there's going to be potential issues. So that's why, for example, we go off here again and look at. I know I keep talking about it, but it's because that's how I can show you how things are done. But in Cake, if we look at how we execute Git version in Cake, so that would be in Common, Tools, Git version. If we look in the runner in here, then when we go off and try and find Git version, we look for git version.exe, we look for .NET Git version, and we look for .NET Git version.exe. So it'll look for each one of those as a resolve tool, and then it'll pick whichever one it finds first of all. So the default is look for the Git version as a Windows executable. Then look for the shim on a non-Windows system that's using the .NET Global tool, and then look for the shim that was created that is the .NET Global tool running on Windows. So that's kind of how we get around it in Cake, by providing the multiple EXEs that could be executed. Twitch is really having a bad day. No audio after disconnect, reconnect. Oh, that's really annoying. Apologies, Manfred. There's not much I can do about that, unfortunately. Everything from my side, I was saying this to Maurice earlier, I mean, everything's been recorded. Like, so the conversation that me and Manfred, too many M's. The conference that me and Maurice are having will be recorded and be able to watch back on YouTube, but it's not working on Twitch, unfortunately. So yeah, you'll have a bit of work to do, I think, to get this to fruition.
I'm not saying it's easy.
No. So it comes back to the decision. So if you want to just run it as a GitHub action, all of that is taken care of for you because it will just run on GitHub Actions. But the question is, do you want to take ownership of that so that if and when you were to make a jump to another CI provider, you wouldn't have any work to do. It would already be handled for you. Or are you happy to say, you know what, I'm running on GitHub Actions and that's where I'm always going to do it. Just stick it into there.
I think you implement it in the build script, so it shouldn't matter if you're running on GitHub Actions or on the AppFair or whatever CI/CD tool you want to run.
I mean, that would be my gut feel as well. It's just that there's a little bit more work to incorporate all of the edge cases in that scenario. So, and it would be the same for Git Release Manager as well. So there's a Git Release Manager.tool that you could install that would give you that functionality.
Yeah, but once you have it for Git version, then you can pretty much reuse the same thing for Git Release Manager.
Because it's the same exact process. So again, if we go up here and see how it's done, I think I clicked the button, but obviously not. What's going on? My internet seems really slow, or GitHub has now gone down.
If that's the case, then there's probably a bigger issue on the internet.
Yeah, site cannot be reached. I'm going to play the dinosaur game instead. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Whoop! Oh, I'm terrible at this game. You've seen this, right?
Yeah, I've seen that. It's really old. It's so funny.
It's when it goes from light to dark, tries to mess with you. Every time you get to 700, or a derivative of 700, it changes from light to dark. I have not played this game lots, honestly.
Keeps the man busy.
Oh, it's back. See, that's the side effect. That's the bad thing. So in here, if we look at where's the runner going to be? The runner's going to be here. So yeah, the exact same process. It will find all of these shims, etc.
Yeah, but in our case, .NET versions.
It would be the
so
two.
Only two.
Yeah, you'd only be encompassing these two at the end. Yeah. So the
At least audio's working.
Audio's working, so you can still hear us. That's the main thing, I guess. Okay, so do you want to start playing with this, or what do you want to do? Do you want to start having dropping this out?
Have a stab at it.
So I mean, what? Why else has it done Saki? But let's have a look. So I think I want to put it into the Saki script. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's. So, and I'm fine to use the to have two commits in one PR for both Git release manager and Git version.
Calculate version number. Not sure if anything would depend on it necessarily, but what sort of, where are all your tasks? So here
it should depend on init at least.
It should depend on init. Agreed. So depends init. Love that one. And then something is going to depend on it. So I would say that it would be the build task.
I don't think you did the depends correctly.
On I've got space. Yeah. So clean depends on init. Is it remind me? Is it a comma? Isn't it? Calculate version number.
I think I'm not seeing video currently, but I think you can use a comma to separate multiple dependencies.
Yeah, I think it's that. So in here, as a test, we could say right host I. We go. How much time we've got? 25 minutes. How much can we get done in 25 minutes?
I don't know. If I can have video, then I can I can see what you're doing.
So Twitch isn't giving you video anymore?
It's saying the channel is offline currently.
Disconnected, connecting again. Description. Parameter can't be found that matches the parameter name description.
I think you need to provide a description for the task.
Mandatory. Okay. Description. Run git version to assert untick. Pause it. Doing the wrong keyboard shortcuts here to save the file.
Another thing you need to add the parameter to the validate set as well in the build.ps1 file.
In the build.ps1 file.
Yeah, there is a validate set almost on the top on line 7, saying clean, default, ester, init, output there, and so on. And my currently my setup is that it's on or in order of the content of the Pisaki file.
Okay. So that would mean it's somewhere after the init then.
No, it's only really in order of the file. So if it's below the task analyze, then it should go beyond the task analyze.
Yep, so it's beyond. It's below. At the minute, I put it below the. Where did I put it? I put it before the build. So here. Manfish just sent me something. Slack.
Channel is still offline, I think. That's what he's sending.
I can't even click. Can't even click on. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I can't click the message from Manfred, and I don't know why.
So let me send him. Oh, I'm getting a message as well from Manfred saying channel is offline. Unfortunately, the stream is completely stopped working for me. So awesome stream so far. See you.
Okay. I'm saying it's saying OBS just disconnected from me too.
Yeah, and hopefully. So we can, from my perspective, we can do two things because I can't see any. Oh, there you are. You're back. I can see things what you're doing now.
Well, you might be able to tell me why I'm not clicking it then, because I'm still getting a. Telling me that the description for PS Script Analyzer is broken, but I don't understand why.
Yeah, paramedic cannot be found.
Let me fix this because this is annoying me as well. So let's do. Oh. Where's all that stuff gone?
No. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. That's bizarre. Revert selected range. I don't recall deleting that, but those things.
Glitch in the matrix. I think it has something to do with Twitch being.
Let's blame Twitch.
Yeah.
Let's see if that now runs then. I'm getting a disconnected, reconnected again. So I would say Twitch is completely down at this point. I also just got a message to say that my stream had finished, when clearly hasn't.
Oh, I'm currently at 360p for streaming video, so definitely going something wrong there.
Okay, so we're executing. So it's now running. So we're at a point where it's actually doing something. Yeah. So where do we get to? We got to it doing.
So the task test currently does not invoke the calculate version number. So I think you would never hit the calculate version number.
It did. Ran it. I saw it.
Oh, it did.
Cool. I made it dependent on build. So calculate version number depends on init, and the build one, which was somewhere. What did I saw it. Stop lying to me.
Build depends on clean.
Oh, I said the clean depends on. Why did I say clean? I don't think I meant to put on clean.
Because with the clean, we are removing the old version, the old project folder. So that will be, I think that will be correct.
But the clean itself doesn't, so that's wrong. The clean itself doesn't depend on setting the version number. So it would be wrong to make that dependency. But the build does depend on setting the version number, because it's the build that then takes the manifest and puts it together, and etc. So that should also result in the test task executing calculate version number because of the dependency chain.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you still have anyone left in the chat, because you're currently streaming for 2 persons.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's still there, which is a shame, because I thought this was quite good content, to be fair, but
yeah,
never mind. Which is,
they can do anything about it.
Okay, so calculate version number is being run. So what we need to decide now is how we want to invoke, or how we want to install Git version. So
with the .NET Global tool. So I think.
yeah, but what's going through my head? Oh, Nils is still here. Hi, Nils. Someone's still here. Someone's
Hi, Nils.
click the reconnect.
Yay!
Button. That's good. What's going through my head just now, Maurice, is whether how clever we want this thing to be. So .NET tool installation is not particularly clever. So if you tell it to install something, it'll run off and it'll install it again if you tell it to do it again. So we actually had to handle checking to see if it's first already installed with the specified version number that you've asked for, and then appropriately either do the action or not. Because otherwise it would just churn, it would just go round and round and round, reinstalling it every time you ran the build, which is not necessarily what you wanted.
That's annoying.
So that's why you'll see in here we did get install tools. So there's a function in here that is saying, give me all the tools that are currently installed into that tool path, and if it's currently available, or if it returns a result, then don't install it again. So there's a question over whether we want to handle this sort of stuff as well, or whether we just say, you know what, just install it.
Now, because I'm just going to steal things. Let's see how they did with the GitHub action, because I think that yeah, pretty much does the same thing, only from a different build environment, a different scripting environment. So the install away tools, this tool print install. So what does that do? Okay, yeah. If not toolpath, else. Yeah, so it pretty much detects the version based on the toolpath, and then it installs or not. I think that's pretty much the same.
Do you have a link of what you're looking at? I'll bring it up.
Yeah, sure. Let's send it in the chat so you can see it as well.
Oh, TypeScript. To install.
So this is a generic one to install Git version detector, or Git version and Git release manager.
Really, they are. Yeah, they're essentially doing what we were doing, and then acquire tool. I'm assuming acquire tool. which is then doing invoking of version. There we go. Tool install, tool name, tool path, temp directory. Yeah. So it's essentially doing
with an optional version number.
Version number based on whether you specify or not. Yeah. Okay. We're not gonna do that tonight. I'll tell you that now. We've got 13 minutes left. So I'm going to suggest we shelve it and we come back to it, or we work on this offline. So
yeah, I think that's a good idea to work on it offline.
Given that the chat has just disappeared on the street on my video, the chat that was here is now all just gone.
Huh.
So, and I've just got disconnected. Let's hold on. Is this?
I'm still seeing video. And I'm seeing that in the chat as well.
Yeah,
so
what I'm seeing is that there's nothing above that in the chat window. So yeah, there's some weird, very, very weird things happening. But yeah, so okay, so in terms of where you are with chocolatey-diff, once you get that pull request merged in for the allow known differences to be ignored, and what's still on the 010 milestone? So git version, git release manager, get full package info should cache results.
Yeah, currently is run twice if you do not provide a version number, and it pretty much downloads all the metadata for all the versions of a package. So if a package has three versions, it's really quick. But if you run this on a package with hundreds of versions, it will download the metadata for every version twice.
Got you.
So I've called it a bug because I think it should be cached.
Agreed, because I mean you run the risk of potentially hitting rate limits and all sorts of things for that sort of requests. So yeah, I would agree with that. So 22, the issue 22 is the one that you got the open PR for. The get full package info should cache the results. That's something you'd still like to work on, and then the inclusion of git version and git release manager is what would then wrap that up and get it ready for a 010 release.
Exactly.
And the intention is to publish this to PowerShell Gallery, I'm assuming?
At least, yeah. Maybe maybe even chocolatey package as well. I don't know.
So in the Saki script that you borrowed from Brandon, is it already handling the publishing?
Yeah.
It does. So there's a publish step here, which is to publish the module using the API key that's specified. Okay.
Which is currently not specified, so we cannot publish anything. But assuming we have a PS Gallery API key at one point, we should be able to publish it to PS Gallery.
So given that, so if we were to look at something like contrib cake dot, which one was he working on? He was working on, wasn't Transifex, was it? Assuming that you create that as a secret within GitHub, you would then bring that out as an environment variable with that name based on the secret name. So you there's two steps. It's not enough to just create the secret. You have to bring that secret into your workflow as an environment variable.
Yeah, we.
It appears that GitHub is broken again, or my access to GitHub is broken, and the dinosaur's back again. What is up with the internet? Is it me? I don't know, because we would be.
The channel is offline again.
We wouldn't be chatting, right?
No, I think we should be gone as well.
Reconnection successful. That wasn't Transifex. So which one was he working on? I was going to bring it up to show folks who are still here. who are not still here. Don't remember which one he was working on. Let's see if Nils has got it in his one. Nils might have it.
Cool. So I've just checked some graphs. The biggest internet exchange in Amsterdam has a drop of 2 terabytes of traffic. That doesn't look good to me.
The internet is broken, is what we're saying.
Pretty much.
Love it. Don't want to find this thing now. But from a secret though, or?
Yeah. For Kotkov.
Oh, of course you are. Let's just bring that up then. The one there first. Put in here.
It's secrets.kotkov_token. So.
Yeah, but that's passing it directly into there. That's not making it available as an environment variable to the host. That's passing it.
We need to figure out how this works.
You definitely can't. I've seen. It's in my head. I can see an example that Kim was playing with. And I can't for the life of me remember which one he was playing with.
Unfortunately, Kim is not here.
No, he should be. Here then. I did that. And Nils is saying he did it somewhere. Oh no, this would work. No, this works, I think. So yes. So in this job, you create an environment variable called GitHub token with the secret that is named that. So that's not the same as what you had here, but it's equivalent. So it's jobs creation runs on that. So then that and this environment variable here is then passed into the unit, the Ubuntu latest runner as an environment variable, and then you could use that in the Saki script to then do what you need to do. So
precisely. So that's a small change to put in there.
Yes, and you need to do the same for what were we talking about? Why did we get onto that topic? What was it we were looking at that needed that?
For publishing.
For publishing,
and maybe
key. Yes.
Yeah, maybe we should do that the same thing for our Chocolatey API key if we want to build a Chocolatey package for this one as well.
Yep, and you'll need one for the OAuth token for, well, there's already one for an OAuth token for GitHub, but you may need a different one for doing the creation of the release notes. You'll need to use a different OAuth token. You'll need to provide one, basically. Okay.
Do I?
Yeah, because I think the default OAuth token only has, it won't have access to create a release, I don't think. I seem to remember Kim saying specifically that he needed to, and that's why he was doing this here. You see, that's the built-in one. So maybe you don't. Yeah.
Because I did some GitHub Actions with Git Tools version Git Release Manager as well.
Yeah, for your other project.
Yeah, and I used the secret GitHub token.
Okay, so maybe
the built-in token.
Okay, maybe it does. Okay, so it's very close to a release then, is what we're saying. And then what did I see was being marked for 2.0 or 0.2?
Well, some small things that were requested already. What I don't think is necessary to be in the first release. I think Alex called for to be able to diff between 2 packages, so not package versions but actual packages. I'm not sure if it should be part of the application, but be used.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, some community maintainers submit a new package for the same thing.
Oh, I
For
see. Okay.
example,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
if someone creates, for example, a chocolatey install package,
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to compare the chocolatey and the chocolatey install package if there are any differences between the two versions.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the usefulness of a diff tool is then dependent on two maintainers following similar styles in terms of, I mean, one might
Yeah.
use splatting of parameters, another might not. So, but I could see though that that could have a use. Yeah, that makes sense.
Kim was to create a metadata file or small metadata file with information regarding the binary files that are in there, because currently binary files are ignored
Yeah.
in the script. It just says, okay, this file looks binary, I'm going to skip it.
So the metadata file would essentially say, here are all the binary files in package A, here are all the binary package in package B, and then you could do a diff between the metadata files.
And these are the checksums for those files.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. That's a good addition. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
but I don't think it's required to have in version
No, agreed. Yeah,
0.1.0.
yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, these things can. I mean, you obviously want to prove out the publishing cycle as well. So once you know that that's working, then you can jump on the next one quicker. So
Yeah.
no, that one makes sense too. Cool. So yeah, it's a nice little project. I think it's got a lot of legs in terms of how it can be used. So yeah, no, I like it, and like I say, I like the fact that I can run it on my Mac here and do a quick sanity check about a package that's in the queue. So yeah, and like I say, ultimately, I think there's a larger discussion that we need to have with regard to whether this becomes another automated check.
And part of the automated checks in
Yeah,
general.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or if we just want to have this for everybody to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, agreed, agreed. Okay, so thank you very much for coming on the stream. I'll apologize on behalf of Twitch that it hasn't, not everyone's been able to see it, which is unfortunate, but I guess these things happen. So um,
Yeah.
so much for the 100th stream being a successful one. So
It's a successful. We still have a successful stream. We still have a video on
or
YouTube
we will
with
do, yeah.
with all the
So no,
things. So
I absolutely agree. So um,
and you were able to bring someone on the
I
stream
was, so
again.
yeah, that's definitely a success. Although the getting of this video to the laptop is something to look into, um, so that
Yeah.
you could see what's going on. Because with Twitch being down, you're not seeing anything. I'm assuming. But
I was completely blind.
anyway, never mind. Okay, so that's all. I guess that's all I have. Um, I guess I can have a think about the whole Git version stuff, and maybe submit something back to help you with that one.
Oh,
Um,
that
I'll
would be amazing.
I'll need to get my head back into Saki and how that works.
Maybe use some Saki.
Well, I'm tempted to go and look and see what Brandon's got in terms of. I know Brandon has some helper modules as well, so I'm curious to go and see what
Yeah.
he's got out of the box.
I'm not sure he does something with that in Poshbot. I think he sets the version separately and then just run the build.
Okay.
As far as I've seen, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and
Yeah.
please provide me the information if
I'll have a
not.
look and see what I can dig up, come up with, and if not, we'll just have to do it. And and if nothing else, it becomes a reusable function that you can use in other builds and stuff as well. So yeah, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. So I'll talk to you offline about that. And so for now,
Sure.
I will say goodbye to everyone. Maybe the one person that's left in the chat room. Nils has stood with us through these disconnects, so appreciate that. But yes, I'm going to stop the stream now, so I shall see you all on the internet. Talk to you later.
Bye.